This month, I fiddle with some nuts and continue to struggle with the dexterity of my left hand. Right, continuing on with what we did last month, making the feet for the hammock stand, we decided to create an attachment so that we could use our iPad hands-free to watch Netflix or YouTube whilst in the hammock. So for this piece, we drew up a quick file in Fusion 360. We're going to print out a couple of them. Our bill of materials for this is 1/4-inch threaded rod, our 2 printed pieces, 2 1/4-inch nuts, a 1/4-inch wing nut, some super glue, and finally a washer. So we're going to start off by spinning the 2 nuts onto the threaded rod. The piece we got is about 6 feet long, so we're going to need to cut it to size. To do that, we're going to start by putting the iPad in the 2 printed clamps, and then grab our Sharpie Magnum and mark where we want to cut it. For this part, we want to have a little bit overhang at the top, and then we're going to put the mark pretty much flush with the bottom edge of the clamp. Now, some of you may know this trick, but for those that don't, there's a reason we have 2 nuts on the threaded rod. What we're going to do with them is spin them up to either side of the mark that we made for the cut, and then we'll get this in the vise, and after we make the cut, we'll show you why we put these 2 nuts on there. Normally, when you're putting threads in a vise, you'd use soft jaws. We don't have them. We're going to be gentle, and luckily for this project, even if we do damage some threads, we're not using any of the ones that are in the jaws. So you can either use a hacksaw or something like an angle grinder or a Dremel with a cutting wheel on it to make a cut. We're going to use an angle grinder. Now that I'm looking back at the footage, I realize I totally have the guard upside down. I was using it to cut some suspension bolts that were stuck in one of the cars in tight quarters. So here's what the nuts are for. Essentially, when you cut threads, you usually damage them a little bit, and so you use the nut to chase them back out, which means you're undoing any damage caused by cutting. For this project, we don't actually want this nut to spin, so we're going to thread it back a couple revolutions, throw a bit of super glue in there, put it back to the bottom of the threaded rod, and put a little bit more super glue on the end, and through the magic of video, it is dried instantly, and the nut's nice and snug, or at least snug enough for what we're doing with it. We'll take one of our pieces, which will be the bottom, insert the rod through the hole, put the other clamp on the opposite end, put our washer on top, and our wing nut so that we can lock it down on the iPad. And as I'm still recovering from hand surgery, it's a little hard to do stuff with the left hand still. Now we'll place the iPad inside and double check that we made everything long enough and that it holds it snugly. A couple turns of the wing nut and we are in business. The clamps stay out of your viewing area, and then the backside clamps to the bar across the top of the hammock. All that's left to do is install it and kick back, relax, and suffer in comfort through the crisis of choice that comes with picking something to watch on Netflix.